time for some help, hope, and healing. Every day's a new beginning. Tap into your feelings and giving life new meaning. No matter the time of day, His grace and mercy goes with you along the way. Help, hope, and healing. Every day's a new beginning. Get in step with Nicole.
Hello and welcome to Get in Step with Nicole. I am your host, Nicole Horston, and I have with me today my good girlfriend. I just love that my friend Anita Turner is here to share helping our parents, our kids, but specifically today our administrators, who are the people who lead the school building. So you know that I love using an acronym, and I don't know if you know that, but I know you know that I taught language arts and social studies at school.
Excellently.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. But I love an acronym. So today, our guest is going to teach us how to lead. Leading exactly as God designed. She's going to help us lead and live exactly how God designed. Go ahead, introduce yourself. Like we're on the same playing field. I have guests, but this kind of guest, you're my person kind of guest, which means she's from the same track of the roads that I am, and we can talk shop. Tell us, fill them in on what you do and just anything you want us to know about you.
Hello, everyone. Again, I'm Danita Turner. I am the founder and lead learning facilitator with Manifest Education Solutions Group. And what we do is we advocate for educators and other professionals in high-stress environments who have professions where they may be experiencing overwhelm. And we advocate for them to help them overcome burnout, avoid burnout by enhancing their physical, mental, and their emotional wellness. I have two beautiful children. I have been an educator of 24 years, 10 of those years in administration. So this is my passion, my calling, and God has pivoted me to a new position and a new calling in this education field.
I love it because, ladies and gentlemen, you know part of my story that I shared since we've been doing the episodes of Get in Step with Nicole, and how the journey as an educator, although I loved what I did, and you saw that.
Yes.
The burnout is real in the education field, and a lot of our teachers, especially, I mean, it was rough before the pandemic, but now, especially trying to get things back aligned and get yourself on a better footing, it causes stress that wasn't really already there to begin with, but compressed with all the issues and the triggers and traumas like of the job and the definition of the job itself. We do have burnout. Teachers who are burnt out and who are walking away. You know, at first, before the pandemic, we talked about who were going to be walking away or who was looking to be walking away. They've actually left. And so what your job is to help them live exactly as designed as an educator, as a person, as a child of God even. You're going to help us with that today, just with your story. But I just, like I said, I wanted to always bring that out because I share, because as a teacher, God knew what He wanted me to do, of course, working in a different vineyard, and you're going to talk about that as well. You're in a different vineyard after you have left the education arena. But it was scary for me, Danita, at first, because I didn't know what was purpose and planned for my life. I was sharing this with you, I was found unresponsive in our teacher's lounge September 13th, 2013, because my body had literally ran dry. I had taken my kids to lunch, because, you know, the kids and us, like teachers, share the same lunch periods.
Yes.
I had taken them down, you know where my classroom was, took them short distance to the cafeteria, sat down to eat, you know, my lunch my husband had prepared for me, and that was the last thing that I remembered. And, you know, after the all call and people, you know, wondering where Miss Horston is in the building, here I was, unresponsive on the couch in the teacher's lounge. And our school counselor, Erica, You know, she came and she saw and rendered aid to me and saved my life because I was literally depleted. And that was my last day of teaching. But you had the advantage of deciding that this is a different venue God has placed me on. And you doing it willingly just is equally exciting for me because a lot of people don't want to talk about the stress because in the education field, oh, you guys are smart beings. Tell us, just help us with that with people who may come to you or even you've experienced because you're teaching us how to lead, even you that you've experienced who are strong-willed, but yet you see that they're on the precipice of a burnout or a breakdown in the education field.
Yes. Before I answer that, let me
Certainly.
preface it with the advent of COVID. As horrible as it has been, one of the awesome things that came out of it is being laser focused on wellness in the workplace. And it was a difficult time for me as well during COVID and refinding my purpose. I had a moment where I just wailed out to God and I said, Lord, just show me, where do you want me to go? Where do you want me to move now? What is my calling now? What will you have me to do? And he showed me that it is now time for me to go back into the education setting and to help be an advocate for teachers, for educators, for administrators, and be laser focused on creating systems for wellness in the workplace. It's not okay for teachers to be seen as martyrs anymore. They have to be taken care of. There has to be as much effort as we put in initiatives for academic success, as much effort that we put into other initiatives, school initiatives.
Yes.
This is a school initiative. It is now the time for us to make sure that we are taking care of and we're protecting our star players, our leaders, our educators, our teachers. So that is how I have pivoted, and I am now in this position in the vineyard to spread the message, to get the movement going even stronger, that we have to become more laser focused on it.
And you know that is so true because, ladies and gentlemen, all jobs have EAP, which is some sort of education assisting program where you can go in and talk to someone. I know I went in and I used EAP hours, which is hours that you can go in and discuss whatever situation you may be dealing with. And I didn't know truly, I mean, I felt it. And at home, my family would be the part of it. Like, you know, where they would actually, I would have to literally go every day before I pulled into my drive, go down the street and stop my car, decompress the emotions and the stressors of teaching each day. So that my family, I wouldn't continue to abuse my family because they weren't the brunt of, you know, what happened at school that day, you know, for those 6.5 hours. But I had to turn off that in order to be mom, wife, you know, friend at home. Because even, I'm laughing because my husband would always say to me, I'm not one of your students. Like, stop talking to me like I'm one of your students. And my son would be the same, like, but it was just in me. And so what do you actually do so the viewing audience can know, because you said you're being laser focused, but in your business, in your practice, because you have a group?
What we do is we work on first normalizing the conversation.
Like we're having now.
Yes,
Yeah.
getting the message out that, you know, my passion is for educators and especially administrators because I know what that role is like, the weight it carries. You are constantly pouring out into your staff, into your building, into your community, and you're not always poured back into. So focusing on that and helping to support educators through systems by creating systems and action plans. So there is an avenue for wellness, so we can integrate wellness practices into that. There can't just be hit and miss opportunities where we are taking care of educators. And
Just give an example of a system that you use in your practice.
well, we have a SNP framework.
So that's SNIP?
Yes.
So is that an acronym too?
Yes. Well, acronyms. Okay, I'm with you.
See, they work.
Yes.
So SNP stands for what?
Cutting out anything that is not supporting teacher wellness. If it's
I love that.
toxicity, if it's unregulated behavior, if it is not acknowledging that teachers and educators experience secondary trauma, anything that takes away from whole wellness, holistic wellness,
Yes.
we're cutting it out.
I love that. So you can remember when the SNP acronym
Yes.
and the SNP system,
Yes.
the SS, the SNP system,
Yes.
by just thinking of cutting away. And you, even though you're not an educator, ladies and gentlemen, you can use, tools, tips, and resources are helpful like all the way around.
Yes.
They really are.
Yes.
Because there's things in our lives that you can stand to snip from.
Yes.
I know you can. I know you can. So that I just wanted them to be more, in the lingo of actually concretely understanding
Yes.
what you were talking about when you said systems.
Yes.
Okay, so you help with systems and you gave us a great one. Is there another one as easy as the SNP? Because see, I always remember SNP now.
Yes.
So anything that's not working, that's not valid for you, that's not, pouring into you, you got to cut it out.
Yes.
And I love that. And you do that for the teacher. You help schools develop programs to do that for teachers inside the
Yes.
building. Okay, so what's another maybe system that you can share that's universal for whatever career you find yourself in?
So all organizations have a mission, and they develop an improvement plan to help make sure that they are progressing towards achieving their mission and their goals. And so what we also do is we look at building improvement plans. We look at what the goals and missions are of an organization, and we help align wellness initiatives in with their goals and initiatives. So it's not an added thing, something that's added on. It needs to be integrated into the normal day-to-day part of their culture and climate. So that's what we do is we create those action plans to include all the stakeholders so they are all a part of the wellness experience. We create those plans so it's sustained. So it's not a one and done. It's something that you
Yes.
continually build upon. You continually identify the problems that are not supporting wellness. You continually research and integrate and find more strategies to support overall holistic wellness for educators. You go ahead and you say, okay, let's step back and let's analyze this data. Let's look at our observations. Let's do some peer assessments, some self-assessments to see how we're growing toward organizational wellness. And then you look at your plan. Do we need to revise it? Do we need to integrate some more practices, something different? So, and then you rinse and repeat and do it again. So you continually get bigger, better, and you are, again, growing towards progressing towards your goals.
So I'm going to break because I really was a great educator. And see,
Yes.
I told you guys that, looking audience, viewing
Yes.
audience, I told you that. And now I have a witness. Didn't I tell you God always gives you a witness? See? But no, seriously, thank you for saying that. But I really want to break down what you just said so they can understand that a lot of times in school, we all have a flow like every job. And of course, in that flow, we have the mission, we have the vision, how it should be run. Sometimes we get off kilter with the normalcy, which is the normal way of doing things, what you talked about so eloquently. So you come in and you assist with that part.
Yes.
And so what works, let's keep working with that. What doesn't work, you step in with your company and your cohorts, and you help develop plans. And IEP, so for those who are familiar with the individualized education plans for students who have special gifting or disabilities, you provide that even for teachers, and that just means the individual wellness plan. I'm telling you, I love that part because a lot of teachers wouldn't be so burnt out worldwide, because we have a reach here, we have a reach in Asia and Africa. So I'm just saying worldwide, I mean, that just amazed when you said that. Now it comes, even though for me it's almost been 8 years later, but it's here, and it's so needed. And so, what works, you continue, ask the school, the system, the school board to continue to do that. As the administrator, setting the example of, just living exactly as it was designed to be. Because the school is not only a safe house for the kids, but it should be a safe house for the teachers, and all stakeholders, meaning everybody who has an active role within the school system. When she refers to stakeholders, that's what Ms. Danita is talking about.
Yes. And I have a special plate in my heart for administrators. So we do offer a lot of coaching for administrators as well, because we want them to embody it. We have to take care of our administrators as well.
Yes.
I was expected as an administrator to show up every day with my game face on, and I had to be strong. I could not show any that I was intimidated or something was causing me anxiety. I had to be the strong one for everyone else. So we come in and we coach administration so they can embody it first themselves, and we show them how to lead their building. So they are integrating restorative practices, adult social emotional learning. We want our teachers to teach social emotional learning, but they have to embody it themselves. Yes. Research shows that it does a child no good if an adult does not have a true understanding of what SEL looks like. And if they don't embody it, and if they don't implement it themselves, and if they don't show interpersonal growth and strength as far as communicating with one another and showing self-regulation, then it's doing our students no good.
And she brought out and I feel like I'm the interpreter today, which is maybe that's how God intended it, because she's the host, she's running the show, and I'm just actually interpreting what she's explaining. And so with the social, emotional, the language, the intelligence, the lessons, I'm just putting it in all variety of facets, but it's just helping people to understand, first of all, we're social beings.
Yes.
As well as emotional beings. And so when you're putting those two together in an educated environment, or even in a workplace environment, again, like I said, she gave us, Ms. Danita, you gave us some universal ones. So all skills and trades have social, emotional pieces, components to them. But you want to make sure that as a leader, so she's coming from administration, which means the principal, the higher ups. But if you're a boss, if you are a trainer, if any type of professional development leader at your job or in your position, as we are living exactly as we were designed to live, you can come to Ms. Danita Turner and say, listen, my company needs help with this, that, and the other. And so she'll let you know, like, okay, I see something that works, that you're doing well, that involves all the components of social and emotional learning intelligence. But tell me, why is it so important for adults even just to grasp those things with the SEL that you were talking about?
A lot of times this can be abstract work. And when we're not dealing with hard numbers, hard data, it is sometimes, it is not sometimes, it is difficult to maneuver through, and to really embrace the concepts behind really being aware, self-aware. So I was speaking with, I had to have a procedure done. I was in the hospital, and I was speaking with one of the nurses who was on my floor in my unit. And she used to be on a floor that took care of COVID patients. And she spoke about the PTSD that she herself and some of her colleagues had experienced. So they had to remove themselves from that environment, and they're in a different unit, and that's how we happened to meet. And I was sharing with her the services that we offer and how we support people like her that are in overwhelming positions and dealing with that stress and that burnout. And she said that they needed, even in the hospital settings, our first responders are, we have to make sure that we have systems in place where we're looking at the ecosystem of a person, what they've
And that's
been
the
through.
whole, yes, the whole person. Yes.
Yes, looking at everything that makes up that person.
Absolutely.
And it's so important for us to be able to maneuver through emotional intelligence, to be able to be respectful of one another, to give everyone voice so they're heard,
Yes.
and so that we're building community. Like you said, we're emotional beings.
We are, yes.
And in our work, our line of work, it's a calling. It takes hard work. And it's so important that we're supporting our emotional intelligence as well.
Yeah. Why? Just looking at you, you're a beautiful woman, you're highly intelligent. You know, you could have chosen any profession. What made you choose education? Because, I mean, I don't even tell you seriously. Like, for me, I always wanted to be a teacher. And, you know, people say, oh, that's just a general answer all you teachers use. But no, when you said it's a calling, that really, the light bulb went off. It really did. Because I'm like, I always want, and I still do. Like, even though I'm a great talk show host, I have to pat myself on the back sometimes. So do you. But no, in all seriousness, I'm like, teaching was really what I thought I would end with. Mm-hmm. That was my end-all, be-all career. Because I loved it just that much. Mm. But really, what charged your heart?
Well, I applaud you. I did not desire to be a teacher. It's just the truth.
She's being honest. She's being honest. She's being honest. And that's why we want honesty. Yeah.
Yes, I went to school. My bachelor's was in international studies and peace diplomacy. I thought I would go into law.
Yes.
And my last year in college, I did an internship in Brazil.
Ooh.
And working in the
studying abroad.
Yes. Ooh. And when I tell you, that is when God clearly showed me my new path. Mm. I worked with students who lived in the favelas, the ghettos in Brazil, and worked with students teaching them in the orphanages. And these were the lost babies, okay? These were the ones that, you know, that had been thrown away, the hardened ones, the ones who were getting in trouble. And we connected. And I was able to build relationship with them. And I said, Lord, if I can do this with children, I want to do this at home. I want to have a positive impact at home.
And home being in the United States when you return.
Yes. And so I went back to school. I had already, after I got my bachelor's, I went back to school so I could get my teaching license. And I loved it. And God continually showed me every day that this is the purpose I have for you. You are designed for this. So he has continually grown me in that profession and in that role.
And ladies and gentlemen, we call each other, you know, in front of the kids. Of course, you remember you always wanted to know your teacher's first name. But Miss Turner in the classroom, in the school system, she was a leadership intern. And that's where she actually, like doctors, have the internship programs. So she was a leader intern before she became an administrator, a principal in that regard. And I'm telling you, you, even in the role, the training role, I would have never have guessed that teaching wasn't your first love, because you brought that compassion, that humanity to the position, and you taught us how to actually live exactly as it was designed. Like, you know, nothing's perfect 100% of the time, but you did show what was perfect for us.
Thank you.
During those school hours and beyond. Because you always, and I was always like, you know, just that straight focused teacher, like, listen, I got to keep my students in check. I got to make sure the school runs, and, you know, all the things that as a teacher leader, which is different from her role, she was higher up than me. And then I was learning to be up under that, even though we have the same degree. But I really took it so serious, so literal. And I think that was part of the problem of the breakdown, because, you know, we have a lot of people who's barking orders to us, whether it be the state, whether it be the school board, whether it be parents, whether it be stakeholders, like people who have a vested interest. So, that kind of thing happens in the classroom, especially if you are a new teacher. See, a tenured teacher who has been there for some time can understand how to navigate. But then, of course, even in that regard, it gets tough.
Yes.
But just think of a new teacher straight out of college. Think of them just for 1 second for me. Can you give them one takeaway of what they can go into the system as you're teaching them how to lead that will help them with their mental wellness? Because seriously, teachers, I've saw firsthand the younger ones that come out of college and they thought education was what they were designed to do, they didn't make it past the first year before those young people turned around and said, no, ma'am, no, sir, this is not for me today. You know, sorry, student loans, I got to pay you back, but I got to go find another career.
Yes.
But those who really want to stay in education, can you give them one health, wellness, socially, emotionally, just to protect themselves or safeguard themselves as they become an educator?
Absolutely. The takeaway I would give to you is to make sure that you advocate for your wellness in the workplace. If it is not the status quo at your building, make it. Use your voice. Even though you may be coming in new, it's okay. You're coming in fresh. And this is a pivotal moment in education. You are part of the change.
Yes.
So you make sure you protect your wellness. Make sure that you are supporting and you are part of a system that supports wellness, that you are expecting your wellness to be covered and protected by others. And if it's not a place of wellness, you stay out of that teacher's lounge.
Now, you get, like my pastor, my bishop always says, you'll catch that message. I know you're already at home, but you'll catch that message when you get home. Stay out of that teacher's lounge, because a lot of stuff can really, either enhance or dampen that experience. So that was a great takeaway. Now, we have just a little bit more time left, but I just want to have you give one for the administrators, because the administrators are already back in their buildings, because school is, for some have already started full swing, but then some will be starting later. So just give the administrator the same advice on their level about just mental health and wellness for them as well.
Absolutely. I would give the same advice. Make sure that between all of the politicking and between all of the initiatives and demands that are being placed on you, make sure that above it all, you're focusing on relationship. You're focusing on how can I improve relationship amongst myself and my staff and amongst themselves. And what systems can I put in place? What is the PD? I know that you want to offer PD for improving academics, behavior, etc. But what PD are you going to line up that provides systemic, continuous improvement to support your team's wellness and yours as well? Making sure you focus on your self-care, making sure that you're providing spaces and environments for your organization to support their self-care as well. That would be the main takeaway I would give.
Well, Miss Danita Turner, I do appreciate you being here today.
Thank you.
Just helping seriously, as we are helping, just paying our part, paying it forward to just opening up new avenues of doing things, new ways of doing things, whether it be in the schoolhouse or another profession. You have given some critical tools that anyone can use. And so, as always, my name is Nicole Horston, and no matter the time of day, whether you're in school, in college, or on your 9 to 5, it is always a great time to get in step and soar. At the closeout, I would love for you